regionalized this.
Slightly regionalized.
Yeah,
Yeah, like, I know West Newbury's chomping at the bit, Georgetown, because they're at the mercy of the Georgetown Rod and Gun Club, but they let them in because they're in town, so.
so
it's
they
kind-
don't have an expense at this point.
No, but they want a police, they want a police range where they can do realistic training. All right, that's the thing, is Georgetown, I know, would buy into it, because they're in the same boat with the liability issues.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, would they be willing to help with some of your expenses, you know, in order to have an inroad to utilize the space when you allow it? I mean, someone has to be in charge, but I'm not leaving it open to just anyone do it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be up to you guys to manage the gun range.
Right. And that can be managed very easily. I know, I can speak for West Newbury, there'll be she's already said, I'll open up the checkbook. Georgetown, you can talk
There
to
you
them, and Merrimack could probably even, use a
Well,
range.
so that's what I'm getting at, I mean, is if we're gonna have something that can be utilized by, others, so that we can get a benefit of monetary value.
Yep.
That would be a meeting like we went to when they were talking about the regionalization,
Right.
with the sheriff's department. And remember that? We all met in West Newbury. Because everything is going, I think, regional, don't you? I mean, we
I
sat
do,
here
yeah.
with the fire chief and he spoke about fire departments becoming regional. Right now, we have a fire on Washington Street, we have Boxford, Georgetown, West Newbury, Groveland,
And Haverhill.
and this in Haverhill too, so, I mean, we have to share resources. Also, Whittier Votech is a great resource, if anything that you need to have built.
Right,
Um,
so,
And is this
Build the road
something that goes before capital planning too, you know?
That's why I was saying we need to know what a
You
dollar
need-
value
We
roughly
need a little
is.
more information,
Right.
because it sounds like it's something they're gonna have to do, because the costs to go other places, we're just not gonna be able to afford.
It probably
Well-
cost us more to go to Devon's for a year than it would to buy all the fencing.
and the problem with these places, even when we were using the gun clubs, we were at the mercy if we turn around and we wanted to do a particular qualification date, and we'd send them dates, then they wouldn't get back to us for 6
Sure.
weeks, and on those dates, and then they'd cancel. And the same with Devon's, if the military has preference, so if they cancel, then we could be another 6 months to a year out. And the problem is, even when they back out and say, sorry, you can't do it, book in 6 months to a year, and knock on wood, we have an incident, we can't go back and say, well, Fort Devens is to blame, it's all gonna fall back on us. Having it in town is just gonna cover everything all the way around.
Okay.
And
Plus,
the
you're
regional-
mandated to do things,
I'm sorry?
you're mandated to do things, and you have to be
Correct.
certified, and you have to meet all sorts of criteria, and
Right, and it'll bring us right in line, it will bring us right in line with all that. And then we have a vested interest in it too, because it's ours.
All right, so a few things that we'll need, probably a layout of what the structure and the baffles and, all the things that you're gonna have to do.
Okay.
An idea of cost, if you can get that. I mean, otherwise it would end up being a bid package that would have to go out for bid
Yeah.
eventually. But, what our resources could, promise you to do and actually come through for you. And then you'll know what the cost's gonna be, but the fence sounds to me like it's the most expensive part of it.
Right, the rest of it is gonna be all pretty much in town detail, because Clooney says he can get the telephone poles from Peabody Power and all them. It's just about bringing them up here, and it's his manpower,
To
you know,
put 'em in.
to put them in. So I don't know if that cost is,
Well, you'll have to find out what help is available and if
Okay.
they can do that. Yeah, it does you no good to have a bunch of poles if you can't get them set.
correct.
So, if we can just, see if we can get that information, and if we need to give you a vote in order to, have our support, I mean, I'm sure if somebody could make a motion, we could, say that we're willing to support this. It's just we have to figure out how to fund it.
This is new waters to me,
Okay.
so I mean,
Just the interest of time, just a thought, if we build it ourselves and we own it and we manage it, and we have partners in the area that are willing to use it, we charge them a fee, that's a heck of a lot less complicated than if our partners want to come in on the investment side. Because once you regionalize that, it becomes like a school system, now you have to create an authority, an independent authority to manage it, control it, because now you have money, it'd have to be a tri-town entity. So if you decide to go that route, then I would suggest that you also make a presentation to the Regional Finance Committee, and we can, because I'm on that committee, we can help you guide through. Because getting money from West Newbury to invest in Groveland is not an easy thing.
The way that most of the regional stuff works is that the other police departments, like they do up in southern New Hampshire, where like West Newbury doesn't give Groveland a fee a year, what happens is let's say we need to repair something, everybody chips in. If we decide we need new equipment, everybody chips in. And that's the way it's been working up there, so it's not an actual regional where they pay a fee to us every
Like
year.
a condo management fee.
Correct.
We need a new
I
roof,
like the
everybody
fee thing
pays.
though every year, if you can pull it off that way, then
Okay.
you don't have to fight with people
I agree.
over who's gonna pay to do something.
Yeah, I agree.
If it's yours, it's yours. They pay a fee to come use it. If they break something, have some sort of a waiver form, you know, that they're responsible if they ruin something. But otherwise, normal wear and tear, you're probably stuck with it.
Okay,
Right.
we can come up with that.
I'd
All
like
right,
to make,
sounds good.
that's a great idea, I agree with you on that. I'd like to make a motion that we support Officer Fournier's concept for an in-town training facility, firearms training facility for the local police department.
It's probably better that I second
I was
that.
just gonna say,
I'll second
I
that.
support the concept, the idea, but I'm not going to second it for reasons known to you.
All in favor?
both.
Oh, it's just you and I.
It's just you and I, yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very
So
much.
it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so,
And more about the regional thing, that comes later as far
you
as.
know, let's stick to doing it, but try and find out who
Okay,
is out there that's looking for this type of a service, what they'd be willing to pay on an annual basis to use your facility, and then try and get an annual commitment from people, then at least you know, if you're gonna have their support, any income coming in, but once it's built, it's built. So,
As an aside, you have to have the neighbors buy into it,
yes,
it's so important, that they know, we just don't move ahead and do it, and then all of a sudden they look out and say, what's going on? I don't know how many neighbors will be there, but
You check with your departmental resources, maybe Officer Gillen, but Homeland Security could potentially be a source of grants. Even though I don't like to subject my town to federal requirements, any new ones, but you never know, there could be money there.
okay,
all right,
Great job.
absolutely.
Well done.
Thank you.
all right, have a good night.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we do have another one coming up, if you need us.
I don't like to talk.
Steve just,
Thank you.
he was at a fire, so he asked me to go
Okay,
sit down.
well, we don't have you on our agenda, but I didn't know if you,
I believe it was the correspondence.
okay. Yeah, so what is it that you're looking for?
Well, I believe he's looking for 2 job descriptions, and then Groveland Soccer is looking for the lists that in November you said you'd get to us, we haven't gotten yet. Gotten's not a word, but
Well, I believe at that meeting, what we talked about was, before you go too far into the planning, because Greg was concerned whether or not the Pines was gonna be a big dust bowl around the September timeframe. But I thought we were looking for information back as to what your plan was, so that we could respond back with what issues
Same
we
as
were gonna
last year.
need. Same as last year?
yeah, we said nothing was
All right.
changing.
Well, there is a problem then, because since the last year event, we have checked and we don't have any provision to allow any drinking on any public property or in any public building. So they would have to, that would be no more of the beer and wine,
Even with the liquor license like BC Park gets one,
Yeah,
it's a
they-
town property.
right? They aren't gonna be able to do it anymore either. As far as I know. I believe we checked the town council and
Is that
this.
all towns?
Our town, we have no insurance to to cover any alcohol being on any town property or in any town building.
And we also have a bylaw that states drinking on any public property is prohibited.
So by approving the past request, the board has broken the law?
Right.
Yes, we did.
That's what we found out.
Yeah.
It wasn't allowable.
Okay.
So that we can't do.
And we couldn't close the liability to the town by just getting an insurance waiver and getting
Well,
the
we get
necessary
insurance
permits.
anyway for it.
Right, but because of the bylaw,
That's fine.
we can't do that, so, so what is it exactly that you're looking for?
Well, I believe a checklist was needed for all events.
So for the vendors needed to have insurance, anyone that was doing food had to have it cleared by the Board of Health. It's all the same thing as last year.
Right, but you said we'd get it in writing, and it would be for not just us, but everybody,
Okay.
as a town policy.
Okay, I believe we're working on that anyway.
You have one in your packet that you people have to
Today,
have a chance
Yeah,
to look
we
at.
have a special event permit guidelines.
I think you have to, I don't think you can just look at it quickly though.
No, I
Take-
realize that, no, I looked at it a little bit.
Yes,
Is this new, Nancy, that we've just put this together?
that's what we've
Well,
been
a few
working on.
weeks ago.
What we were working on, okay. So,
So any liquor license for DC Park's now being revoked, because I know there's a few.
won't be
weddings coming up
granted,
there.
not
We won't
revoked,
be able to grant
but
them.
granted.
So any ones that have been granted are no longer valid?
I don't know if we've
Do we
granted
have
any
any out
liquor
there?
licenses.
Yeah,
One
I just
day
happen to
liquor
know there's
license.
quite a few weddings coming up there.
well, then they're gonna have to be told.
Yeah,
We just found this stuff out.
I'm just thinking that DC Park, like,
We don't know that there's a lot of weddings on these.
okay.
You're telling us
I'm just
something.
thinking, I happen to know there's like, cause I was up there booking a thing for my sister's shower for no liquor. For baby shower, and they mentioned there was a lot of weddings coming up, and I just thought, this is something
Weddings,
that's gonna
bar.
affect.
This is something we just found out in the
We did.
past four
That's-
weeks at the most, and we've had nothing from VZ Park
Okay.
presented to us.
We found out probably late fall, early winter, is that right?
About the insurance, and
Yeah.
then we found out about the bylaw.
so we do have guidelines, we've developed them, we're still cleaning them up, we're a little bit longer than we expected, but we had planned on getting it done by March, so it's still March, but we're almost done with March.
We kind of get buried up in trying to get the finance director so that we can put the big package out for the bathrooms as of this Friday.
Right, and we're planning to do that.
She is gonna be starting.
And then what was the other one? I just had it on the top of my head.
It's
The permits
Now they're,
for the soccer and fall.
so it's for the training academy, I believe it was, no?
Permits to field use, is
Yes,
that what
for
you're saying?
soccer for the little kids.
Down at the Shanahan.
At Shanahan
No.
Field?
There were several that you held up. One
Yeah,
of
see,
them was,
Babe Ruth, I don't know what our field use is gonna be yet. We have that group coming in next. So we, like I had said a few years ago, we put those other fields in, hoping to get them off of the Babe Ruth field so that it could be used for baseball. So I'll have to find out what their use is gonna be. What day was it? Those were Saturdays, I think.
Saturdays till 1, the latest.
Alright, so we'll have to double check on what we end up out of this meeting.
We
But as far as
selected.
Shanahan, I mean, that one was
I
slated
don't know what
for
else.
soccer to use.
She just
We
told me
have those
that
other two fields
Bicycle trail
slated
meeting
for
was here.
soccer. I
Okay.
don't know if that's enough.
no,
No, they need 4, that's
I
only
wonder if
2.
it's at the
John
school,
might know.
it says
Maybe
Bagnell.
4 at a time.
Is
Says
it?
Bagnell.
because the town thing there said the town hall. All right. Thank you.
Oh. Yeah, but how many soccer fields do you see? Yeah, so it's short too.
So if they had to go through the day, could they do it till 3 or 4 o'clock and get them all down there on those two fields?
That I don't know. That would have to be something.
Double
before.
check that and see if that works. That way there you can start scheduling. It's not gonna mess up your schedule.
Okay.
Because
And
at least we know that you have those fields.
I know July 3rd,
July 3rd, down at the,
The fire,
there is no drinking there.
No, I know what reason you held it, you said because the time was changed from last year?
No.
Yeah, it was.
Still
It was
July 3rd.
earlier, and what you asked was, were the neighbors informed, and that's what they wanted to talk to Steve about. Of the difference, it was a different time, cause I compared the
I
two.
think it was
things.
like set up or something, we would be there earlier setting up.
Was that
Well,
for
it didn't
town?
say that, it just said from this to this.
For July third?
The time, they started much earlier?
Yeah, it started like 10 in the morning, am I right?
No,
Without pulling the permit? Okay.
I don't know what, it may have just been for setup, because we're down there setting up all day.
How did the parking work out last year?
Trying people parked, we put the signs up like the police requested, and
Any neighbor problems, concerns?
not that we know, no one complained.
Good.
We didn't get any complaints afterwards. We had a barrage of fire, so it worked out good. I'm
I
glad.
think it was setup time,
10 to 10,
yeah, it was setup.
which it was much later last year.
Yeah, I don't think we put setup time last year, and setup time was requested this year.
Well, it didn't, all it said was 10 to 10.
So what time will the event start?
Same time as last year.
Rough idea?
Dark, when it gets,
Yeah,
maybe
4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Was it like 4 to 10?
Well, until the fireworks are over, and everything stops,
after.
well, everything stops before the fireworks, but fireworks, you know, people are there.
Yeah, everything's cleared up before it's dark, all the jump things and.
So you're having everything the same that you had last year, nothing additional, and there's never been alcohol at that
Never,
event?
no, it's a family event, there's no need to have alcohol.
And as long as the neighbors, are ready, I mean, because people can be having neighborhood parties and
Well,
what.
they're down there anyway, they come over.
Yeah.
It's a very nice event, you guys do a great job.
And then I believe the summer camp, which we use as a fundraiser, was another question.
Yeah, the problem we've come across with, people that are in raising money with a company that, you know, is getting an income from it on town property, we've denied those before.
They don't get an income, what they do is they take the money to pay for their insurance, their shirts and the balls, and then they donate the rest of the money back to us. So they cover their,
Cost.
it's an agreement we have with Seacoast because they train our coaches. And what they do is they run a camp for kids, like a clinic for the week, but they only take the money, they only pay for they donate all the coaches to come in to teach the kids for the week, but they only take the money for their insurance. Every kid's got a soccer ball and a shirt, and the rest of it comes back to Groveland Soccer.
So I would say that the way you would wanna run the event is through Groveland Soccer,
Okay.
and that, you know, you're just utilizing their services
Yeah.
to help with the training. Because I believe with baseball, the Little League guys go over to Tom Italian, and he runs their training thing, and I don't believe at a cost.
Okay, so you just want us to reverse it so that,
I would say that it would have to be reversed, otherwise it looks like somebody's coming in to use our property to raise money.
Make a living.
yeah, it was just easier for them to do it that way, but we'll just cut them a check. It's no
But
big
you
deal.
have insurance as it is, correct?
Yes, but, cause it's just, they prefer to have their own above and beyond.
If it was me, I'd trust my own insurance more than somebody else's that I don't
Well,
really
it's,
know.
you know, we have double insurance, so it's ours plus theirs.
And is the town listed as a additional insured? That has to be.
Just have them double
on
check
all-
to
I
make sure
believe
we're
you get the
listed.
binder, don't you, when he
I
sends
don't,
it?
no.
I'll double check.
Okay.
The town would be additionally insured,
I
correct?
believe it is, yeah, cause it's, we're through Mass Youth,
Yeah, good.
so I believe Mass Youth does it, whatever they,
Yeah, we just need to make sure that we're listed
Okay.
as insured.
so I'll have them reverse it so that
It
we're
makes-
collecting payment and then we'll just give them the money for their expenses.
We don't need to know how you handle that.
Okay, so we'll
Yeah,
have the
we don't
money.
need details beyond that point, cause it's all encapsulated within.
If you're running it
GIS.
as part of your program, it's your program.
Okay, we'll just,
I hope
okay,
I hope you're making a ton of money.
well, it helps to pay for the
It's,
bills,
for the kids, it'd be great.
How
Now you-
long is the camp?
just 1 week, a couple hours, 3 hours a day, Monday through Friday.
All right, we're running behind on our 6:45,
That's it.
but we got everything?
Yep.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you very much.
Thanks for
Thank you.
coming by.
Job.
Thanks.
Sorry it took so long for us to get to you.
Yeah.
You learned about
I'm
that?
excited about firing range.
Yep,
There you
you're
go.
ready.
It's
Well,
just
maybe
the
a little too
concept,
excited.
just the concept.
They mentioned they needed targets, right?
I used the C word, Betty, concept. I'm glad you brought that
C-word.
out.
Okay,
Wow.
Just bringing them in, they're waiting out
Yeah.
the hall patiently.
Sorry that, we didn't
Hello,
expect them to come in. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Very
Hello?
good.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for coming in, guys. Gentlemen.
Where we sit up?
If you wanna sit in the comfortable chairs, it's okay, we'd even come over and sit with you guys.
Well,
You have things to share with us, we can come to the table.
Let's go to the table.
Yeah.
That's theirs, this thing.
This one?
Right, this fancy right here? Yeah. Okay.
Theirs meaning Groveland, they do.
Hi, I don't know you guys. Oh, nice to see you. You were in Florida, weren't you, with somebody?
Yeah.
With Dawn?
Oh, well,
Hi, nice to see you. Hey, how have you been? I haven't seen you in a long time. Hey, I saw you, didn't I?
How you doing?
It was a nice night out.
Yeah.
I didn't win anything this year, though.
So,
Usually-
The email.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually gave him all the dates, I don't have them on my phone.
Oh, you don't.
Did you have the dates for Pete?
That's the paper I
That's the
can't-
paper you
it's
can't,
hooked
yeah,
up
if you could
somewhere.
write them down for
No,
you.
it's fine, I can run it down quickly.
So what, you wanna talk about what we put together here?
Yeah, everyone has a copy of this, right? I think the guys do too. This is last year's schedule, just so you can get a look at the way it played out last year. This was with fewer high school players. We get a lot more this year in the program. I don't know if you've heard from Tom Italian, but it's, we got a ton more ninth graders, so they have a full freshman team this year. Up until this week, halfway through the week, he was still saying he thought they were gonna take almost every weeknight too with with freshman practice. But luckily,
That's
he's
coming,
changed his
though.
mind in the last couple of days.
So the high school's got 3
Yeah.
full coaches and 3 full teams this year.
That's excellent.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's good.
big,
Yeah, it's
big
good for
group.
baseball.
So we just wanna give you guys an idea, because we have, as you guys can see, every afternoon and Saturday mornings, usually till about 1, the high school takes the field for the JV program and now freshmen. And then we come in after that. And, you know, we'd had a couple of comments to me, who would say, well, you know, the field isn't used, and saying, you know, it's just not true. It's used every night. So last year, we were approached by Todd Newton, because he had a group that were doing pickup baseball games. So they had asked if we weren't gonna use it, could they have it Sunday mornings from 10 to 12? So I said, yeah, with the understanding that if we needed the field for a makeup game or something like that, they'd bump up. It never did happen, we never needed the field to bump them. But as you can see, other than, you always get a few things during the year, like when the kids go off to Washington DC, or there's some kind of an event at the school. Other than that, it's used most nights, with a couple nights here or there. The other complications which make it tough for the scheduling is, it started last year and it's gonna continue this year, is that the high school and Coach Italian had okayed the Newburyport High School team to use pipe staves certain nights of the week. When there's a game, whether it's a JV game here on a home field or a JV game up there, the games go too late, so we can't play a game. We can use it for practice, but we can't use it for a game, because games at this age group need to stop by 5:30. And they're not usually off the field until 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So, it kind of ties hands a little bit there.
So what fields do you have available this year for the Pines Babe Ruth, for the Kentucky Babe Ruth, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's our other issue. We get the Pines and the pipe stave,
Yeah.
for, till,
7:30, 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
Pipe State we don't get on Wednesday nights.
no Wednesdays.
And then there's also Newburyport using that field because they're down a field due to school construction.
right.
And last year they used it 5 times and they requested 11 for this year. So West Newbury's gonna deal with how that shakes out.
And they're trying to discourage them, and trying to get them to find another field, but while they're working on their fields, I guess they're reconstructing fields over there, so they need a hand.
That was the first one hit, yeah, right?
Thanks,
Yes.
And then,
Onto the field.
Oh.
There's
No field at all.
No field.
Yeah, so at least for this season too, it's gonna be another problem with
And
those
then
guys.
we can use Stevens one night a week until school gets out, or till the Little League program in Merrimack ends.
And
Because
Sundays.
they've got other, small kids out on the other side of the field, so it really, and we can't get on the high school field until, let's call it Memorial Day, or if the high school team makes the tournament, it keeps going, so. So it really just leaves the Pines for that early, especially the first couple months of the season, so. That's where it gets a little tricky.
But of course, in June, we get the high school field, right? But then we add a couple teams to the program too, as the freshman, sophomore.
I guess the question,
Right.
the other question I had is, who schedules all the summer Babe Ruth?
The ITBR, we play in the ITBR. We tell them how many teams we have in, and
They schedule.
at the time that we turn the teams in, we tell them what fields we have, when we have field availability, and they put those master schedules together.
So,
And then-
would that be something that would be able to work with the request that Pete had? You know, if they knew what dates someone else was looking to use it, would they be able to make their schedule based off of that?
Well, it would be whatever, we would just tell them when the field's available. So really, it wouldn't be a matter of that schedule getting integrated. It would be, we would say, hey, Heinz is available X, Y, and Z days.
Okay, so, Nancy's making a copy just so you can see what dates they have here. Those are the dates that,
I got it.
I got a copy of that. What he was asking for, so, based on this, I mean, is there any available times for these dates, do you think, that,
Well, if you take the weekdays, if you go through this schedule, weekdays we almost always needed the Pines. So really, what comes into play is whether we could work around Sundays, I think.
There's a good amount of holes in last year's schedule, at least on Thursdays as well, and, it's just, like, for sure, we definitely, we'd love to have Sundays, and it looks like, the field wasn't even being used in the morning, or if it was just a pickup game, like, this league wouldn't be a pickup game, this is, we've had, 6 to 10 guys in this league that have played independent baseball, like, this is, the best baseball that will be in this area, this summer, so it's like, we just really wanted it, I've always wanted to play on the field since I was little, and it's, I know it's a big request, it kinda might, throw everyone off a little bit, but it's, it is only 12 dates, and, we're just trying to, get in there, it could be a, real town pleaser, I feel like a lot of people could end up going to some of those games, so.
so based off of what you've got here, it's looking like, the Sunday, well, last year it was the 19th and 26th, this year it looks like it's the 18th and 25th. You have nothing on those dates?
Well, we don't have this year's schedule yet.
Oh,
That's
Looking at
a
2013.
2013 calendar, so.
all right.
When will you have the schedule?
The roster,
Won't be for a number of weeks anyway.
yeah, this Thursday, we have to tell them how many teams we're putting in, and we've had 6 teams last year, we had 4 at the 13 and 14-year-old level, we had 2 at 15 and 16, and it looks like that'll be the number again this year, so. We'll tell them how many teams, and then they'll start to build the schedule, so. When I looked at the dates, it's 7 Sundays and 5 weekdays, I think is what it's looking for. So,
I think we were looking at it saying, we could probably find some ways of working with some Sundays, but the weekdays, if we take weekdays, we're taking that away from the kids in town.
Yeah, the Sundays are, you could possibly do something, because he's looking at two in May.
Well, supposedly it's 4 o'clock and after, so if we had to slide a makeup game, we could do like noon time or morning.
Sure.
It doesn't really matter to us.
2 in May,
What time do you
2, maybe
games
3 in
start?
June.
We traditionally played at 4 PM Sundays, but if we told the league we had to play at 5 or 5:30 or whatever time, we could slide the Sunday games to whenever.
Yeah, I don't see
As
how
long
you
as we
do
can
you
get
guys
that,
play
yeah.
9 games?
No, we play 7, but
Well, now.
They do go into
impact
extras a good
kids
amount.
in town.
Exactly.
All right, so you still need to see what your timeframes are
Yeah,
gonna be.
and then obviously when we get into July,
Yeah.
it loosens up a little bit because the 13 and 14-year-olds will finish around the 4th of July.
Okay,
And then the 15 and 16s will still be playing in July, but, that's, 4 teams, they'll do like a week of playoffs.
That's why you get this, all this open.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
July.
And that's fairly new, all the programs used to finish up like in August, but last year we changed the schedule. So started earlier in April and they finish earlier so that it doesn't take the whole summer off. So it really loosened this up in a big way, which is great. Cause of course, we get the Stevens Field in Merrimack right in time for the season to get over. Cause we get it as soon as their Little League program's over, which is now late June. So this gets pretty late, so we get them Wednesday night and Sunday and that's it.
So that means towards the end of his schedule, it's probably
Yeah.
gonna be not a problem,
It becomes far less.
far less of an issue. And
Oh,
then the
yeah.
Sundays, you still think you could figure that out? Whether they go earlier or,
Yeah, I think if.
Well,
if
later.
we can-
You only have 2 in May, if there's a way of doing all of June and July Sundays, would be better.
Well,
That'd be good.
worst comes to worst for those, the 3, I have no problem, I played Babe Ruth in this town, I mean, for like the 3 Tuesdays in June, cause you said that's like the most packed time, you know what I mean? That's, we could have no problem trying to find another field, we're just trying to get a good amount of them, but if it's 3 Tuesdays in June and it's, really gonna be that packed down there, then I would give it up to them, no problem,
I would, and the only other Tuesday I'd say would still be tight is July 8th, because that's, they're gonna start the playoffs right around the 4th, depending on where we are with makeups and rainouts.
no, it's good, it's good to be able to work on some of these things.
Yeah, but
Keep
I think
everyone
it's
happy.
great.
The other thing I
I
wanna,
thought you were all on the same page.
no, but the other thing I wanna mention
Such
is,
a nice relationship, I'm enjoying it, it doesn't usually happen.
well, the other thing I wanna mention to you too, though, what some of the other towns, like in Merrimack, they've had some AAU teams that they wanted to play on the fields and stuff. So I've been keeping the schedule the last few years, so they call me directly, and if it's open, they slide out onto a field. So there's also that too, and that's more like on a week to week, or maybe, 2 weeks in advance. But a lot of times, if something can be moved around and we can slide you on that way, we do that too. And that way there it keeps, we can make sure we can provide the full program for the kids, but if there are any open holes, we'd slide you guys in then, so that's an option too.
Nice.
Cause I've got a ton of people like, it's an everyday
I
thing,
got you, yeah.
people are coming and going on.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Me and Gary will basically be handling the team this year. My dad will be, the on the field coach, kind of.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the kind of GM.
You got
but-
dragged in, huh?
Yeah, he did actually. We did drag him in. But me and Gary will be kind of handling, the managerial role. So I have no problem, a couple weeks before, just even asking for these 4 dates, and if it comes to be that they are available, if they're not, that's no problem. But if we could have, these Sundays, that'll, the Sundays are really big for us because those are our, we don't get many fans, but if we do get some, they're gonna come on a Sunday. So, and then I guess the last thing I would want to ask is, in July and August, is there gonna be anyone else coming into that field? Because we'll hope, but if we are in the playoffs, it would be home field advantage if we're in the top 4 in the league. So.
No, I mean, we don't use it at all in August, we're
We should,
completely on the.
yeah, we finished the playoffs for the 15 and 16-year-olds like the last week of July, and then it's a neutral field thing, so if Pentucket.
And it would be on, most playoff games would be like, we'd schedule them as they come, so like if I gave you a call a week before and, says, you got a game on Sunday, and you guys are like, yeah,
You'd
that's
get
no
up.
problem, I could just tell our league that we have to play on Monday.
In
know
July,
what I mean?
you
So-
get, the field's easy,
Okay.
that's not an
Yeah,
issue.
even when we
Because
get
as
to
you can see,
playoffs.
if you look at the July, schedule, you'll see on the 13th, the 20th, and the 25th, those are the ITBI playoff days. And that's just, you have to have neutral field, so our guys have to play like over at Harris Field or
Okay.
somewhere else, and they send guys over here.
Yeah, our playoffs wouldn't start until a week after that, so it'd be probably July 24th, maybe even
Probably a week of makeup games in the playoffs, so
Yeah.
probably not till August 1st.
Yeah, so you'd have carte blanche, at least as far as we're concerned. you know.
Yeah.
But now, your league has insurance that they can give the
Yes,
town of
we-
Blinder.
we
need that.
We have to have insurance through our league, so.
I know
Provide that.
they've had one for years.
We write the
We
check
would need a
every
copy
year.
of that.
Yeah, no problem.
And we
Okay.
expect you to win, that's
Oh,
why we
yeah.
had all this opening on this.
No, definitely.
Otherwise, we're gonna fill it up with lacrosse
That's
or
right.
something.
Come
Your
check it,
baseball
come check it
team.
out.
Let's
Make
change
sure
that
that-
subject, huh?
Geez, I saw the Little League guys, and they're down to 3
I'll have to
teams
let it
this
go.
year for the majors.
3 teams. We had
Maybe
6. huh?
Maybe we'll have a championship
That's
in
it.
mid-August down there.
Good, that'd be awesome.
Since the winning
I
team,
We don't need to go
the
back
winning
now.
team gets
We're
home.
going
play
back.
all the way
Help them
through,
out,
so.
I guess we're
We
going
gotta
back.
get the
Go
numbers
back where?
back up.
Little
My
League.
kids were, I
Come on
remember,
down.
we went through the whole summer, July,
Right?
we didn't have
Oh,
a
yeah.
vacation.
You never ended.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Until
does that
football
answer
started.
everything you
Soccer.
guys
Yeah,
asked?
weekend
was a great weekend. I really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
This is the
You
family
guys
time
make
cake,
it,
because we're in
you know, the
baseball.
Sundays
Yep.
This is great.
at 4 o'clock.
It
Nice
is
change.
good. Still,
And
still.
And those
Yeah, I
last
think
2
so.
dates
I
down
wanna
at
go
the
on
bottom.
vacation as much
And
as
then
I
on the
can.
13th and the 17th
No,
in
it's-
July, right?
It worked out great.
So this is still possible then, right? We're
Well,
talking-
they fit in probably 8 or 9 out of the
Yeah,
12,
there's
right?
4, so there's 8 out of 12 that are official, and then, like I said, I have no problem giving Mr. Beaton a call, like, you know, a week or 2 before, and
If you do like a 2-week
if
slider.
they, yeah, if they
schedule,
are
that'd be
available, then, you know, we'll take them, if not, we can find an alternative field, and basically, I just let the league know that, and they, you know, drive to whatever field we tell them, cause, you know, it's not very.
Fill this out again for Nancy, the
No
other
problem.
ones. And maybe
That's the
put in
kind
the
of
dates that you
cooperation
know
we
you have
would
now,
like to
so
see
then we can
across all
follow.
other sectors, so
Yeah,
Phil Collins
We're
to
here
be.
now.
we appreciate that.
Today's the 24th.
I know,
Phil
scary, huh?
Collins to be.
So,
What
we,
happened, huh?
we're
Mr.
gonna
Beaton
have
used to
all
be
of
the
our,
little guy.
That's right.
all of our high school teams, we're gonna have 3 this year?
3 full
Yeah.
teams and
Three
3
full
full
teams.
coaches.
That's
We
great.
That's
got-
awesome.
I don't know where
3
he
full
came up
sets
with
of
the money,
coaches, yeah.
It's got a freshman coach, a JV coach, and
Good.
Well, remember, this year too, the 7th and 8th graders could have tried out for the high school.
Really?
Yeah, because there's, just the principal, of the high school is now the principal of the middle school too. So in all sports, the 7th and 8th graders can try out for the high school
Weird
team.
rule.
He didn't take any of the players, but it came real close.
Did it
Really?
really?
Yeah,
Nice to know you.
That's
Yeah.
great for
Talent
the kids,
coming up
imagine a
like
young
that,
kid.
yeah, getting up, it's incredible, yeah.
What a
which is
motivation.
so, I don't, I don't know where that rule comes from, whether it's the MIA or what, but if you're the principal of both schools, you can draw to both.
Go ahead, huh?
That's interesting.
A lot of places in the country, they can actually do that.
But,
I know a lot of kids that go to private
They had a real good
schools.
turnout of 9th grade signups, including some kids that had like bailed out of Groveland baseball in 6th or 7th grade, went and played lacrosse and coming back to play baseball.
Oh, you getting them back?
Yeah, they're coming
Oh,
back.
oh, okay.
Yeah,
For the first time in about 4 or 5
Goals and
years.
Right?
singles, right?
that's a good sign.
Did they have to go out on the lacrosse field and tell them?
That's permission.
I think with the time they get towards the
without
high
their
school,
stick.
Yeah.
they start getting banged around a little harder, it's a little different game, maybe, so.
That'd be good to have them all back.
Yeah, it's.
I just wanna remind you, there's some lacrosse people that are gonna be watching this tape, you know.
Okay.
We're baseball people in this room.
That's right, they can talk about lacrosse on lacrosse night.
Right.
Very good. The majority is the baseball.
That's right, this is a baseball town, we're proud of that,
That's
very
right.
proud of that. Groveland soccer.
Was that your work,
Baseball.
kind of games?
Okay.
These games,
Wish I
yeah.
could have done yellow
Nice
crowd
memories
last
with
year.
that.
It's true though.
Well,
So we are gonna have a field, and we are gonna have a field all the way through there.
Sundays, all
Yeah,
this-
well, the softball field will be
Everything's-
usable for the girls
And then
and,
we'll try to do the Tuesday.
My biggest
Yeah,
nightmare
as
is
in
both
baseball,
versus
no
Mark.
problem.
Right, we'll keep those for now.
Yeah, so take my cell phone.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't give this out on.
all right,
No
so,
television, write it
No,
down for you.
I'll.
You'll be getting
yeah.
calls, you don't want it.
I don't wanna do that.
So which one?
It's like when that media woman.
You want this signed tonight?
Like rings through your cell phone.
Well, they said they were gonna work
Showed
with
it
us.
then.
All right, so-
Shall we sign this tonight, right
No,
now?
that's what I'm afraid.
Is that for
So,
them?
this
Yeah.
one's for the Babe Ruth.
text or call, doesn't matter, 'cause I text,
Oh, yeah,
you know,
programs,
all the time, yeah.
That's it from the doctors.
Everything,
They
I
don't
text
talk to you.
everything these days, right? Yeah.
Now, just realize, on yours, you put all 12 dates down, but conditionally, we know.
8 of them, the 3rd, the 10th, and the 24th, all of June, and then July 8th.
Okay, those are the ones that are,
Thank you.
we're currently no. So
So
the,
no,
And I'm definitely gonna
June
call.
3rd,
June 3rd,
is no,
no.
is that what you mean?
June 10th,
Okay,
June 24th,
Yeah.
and July 8th.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Okay, so now we can sign them.
July 17th is a Thursday.
Yeah, they're gonna, we should be good.
You should be good.
Okay, so,
as long as we talk to you, if we run into a major.
No, that's what I mean,
problem,
even with some of these other dates,
Yeah.
if there's even a, another date that week open, like I said, there's gonna be a lot of rain out, so we can pretty much assume that, so with our
No
lead,
rain this year.
with
Just
our
snow.
lead,
Taking
kind
a year
of
off?
It's just gonna keep.
throw an idea out and they'll,
That'll be a first.
they'll approve it for you.
I think we're gonna be glad we don't live on the Cape on Wednesday.
I
so.
think you're right, the tape got hit badly, huh?
Is this the second one?
Alright.
There was a copy, yeah.
I'm gonna have to
You
go
don't
to
need
high
to
school
sign
with me
it.
and, a couple of buddies that used to play with me and started doing lessons and can't.
All right.
So,
Really?
yeah.
Little competition for, Tom and Dad?
He needs some. It'll only make him better. He always told me, that's good.
That's right.
No, it's the same.
Yeah.
It'll only make you better.
Competition makes you better,
It was
right?
nice that we could have this nice gathering.
Exactly, you
And,
like
this was good. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
very
We'll
good.
work
Well
together.
done.
Thank you all.
Really appreciate it.
Nice to meet you guys.
Great job. Thank you again.
Delay in the hallway,
Thanks for coming in. See you at Washington.
Don, it's just
Friday.
stuff, turn stuff
Yeah.
around on TV.
Nolan's
My
moving
wife-
up.
Yeah, for their games?
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
get home, having fun.
Yeah.
It's great to be there.
Isn't that all?
Yeah, middle of April,
Yeah.
I'm scheduled for
So-
a friend to go to a range.
Jackson
How
sell all
about-
his calendars?
I wasn't glad.
Very smart.
I didn't get
I
it.
got a
I don't know
collection,
what
so I'll be picking next.
So I can do it. Thank
I
you.
might not
So
fly
I
one
went
to
to
like
next year, I was gonna
10, I think.
practice
So
on
it's-
trying.
He did not jump on, last year he jumped on it right away, this year.
They said it might
Get her
be
training
hard
clothes.
to
Wait until Sunday.
Yeah.
He's
All right, yeah,
He's got all
I had
kinds
the
of
bird
things.
when I bought it.
Yeah, I'm up for one.
Peter, it's good
Good
to
to
meet
meet
you.
you.
Yeah, have a great season.
I will.
schedule that people
Yeah.
can hold
They
it.
had,
Um,
I was in.
yeah, for the Babe Ruth
Also, they could have-
or for the Pines in general?
Trying to start up.
But which one does he want me to
So, but it sounded like he's
Put on
The
TV.
nerve,
progress.
that nerve regeneration is a long.
Yeah, it'll be,
Yeah.
maybe a month, it'll be 3 weeks, 4 weeks.
Appreciate it, bye.
Thank you again. All right, yeah, nice to meet you. Good luck. Yeah,
Be
see
around.
you around, yeah.
We'll come down there and, help fill the practice.
You can run the big boys around a little bit.
Tape any of them, yeah, all the games are good to see. In case I miss one.
What is he doing that for, man? What is he thinking? That's gonna hurt the other one.
That means
So
we're
you do
gonna-
post the schedule?
Yeah, I'll do that.
All right.
Do
Yeah.
that. Very,
I'll have
very
to try to
excited.
get it to you.
How's Jake doing?
Okay, it'll be a few weeks.
It's not as- Yeah.
That means we're gonna have to use.
How's
the-
that going? Oh, is that right? So it started. So no more little driving local, huh? Now you're doing the longs? Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what? You
He's on the
gotta do it,
road.
cause it goes by just like
It
that.
does, like a
Yeah,
blade.
4 years and it's over.
I think,
Thank you, guys.
you made Farmington is coming up this weekend.
Oh,
How far is that?
good luck with that. Bring your skis, cause Sugarloaf's right up, right around the corner.
Your signature?
Here's the
Or a copy?
tentative
Okay.
permit
Okay.
until you give the actual schedule, I'll attach it to it,
Okay.
all right?
So what else do we have on
Here's a new form that we use now, so
Greg was
people
supposed to
maybe.
come in and
fill
talk
that
about
for
it.
future.
Oh, you got a new one.
Yeah.
You have that electronic?
I do,
Settlement
you want me to
agreements.
send it that way?
Yeah.
We'll need a motion for the settlement agreements, correct?
Yes, to sign them.
And you have the ones you want us to sign?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so would someone like to make a motion to sign the settlement agreements for the Haverhill landfill?
I'd like to make the motion based on town council's recommendation for the settlement agreement releases
Regarding the Havel landfill,
Yes.
Rick,
regarding the Havel landfill, yes.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so that should be the end of that. That's over now, once we get that sent and they'll get the payments.
Joe, you said town council's recommendation for what? I'm sorry.
For our action.
For our action related to the settlement agreements releases.
That's why I couldn't
He
find
did
it.
ask a question about the funding. Do we need to provide him an answer as to whether or not the,
No, I've already talked to him. I've spoken to Greg, everybody's on the same page.
okay, so
Okay,
whether
let
we
me-
paid before or he was waiting for the insurance money, but we can go ahead even if it doesn't come in
Yep, Yep.
before. So we can pay
Yeah.
a portion.
Yep.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Let's see. The special town events permit guidelines, has anyone had a chance to look at those?
No, Don, I really haven't.
All right, so
Do you
I would
mind if
say
we-
that if you could take those, read through them and see if you have
Yeah,
any
I think you should.
recommendations.
Yeah, I think so,
Um,
because we just gave
yeah.
out information now, we can't do certain things.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay, so next meeting we can
Yeah,
take
this
a
is
look at
well
that.
done, I have a couple of ideas, but yeah. I'll
As
send
I
it to you
said, you
later,
can
yeah.
amend, add to it,
Yeah,
strike,
yeah, yeah,
whatever,
that's good.
but it's what other towns use and.
Right.
Let's see, is Greg available?
he's
I
with
saw
the
Bill,
finance board.
Oh, is
Bill
he?
Cook peeking in at us, I don't know if they were ready for anything.
Can we see if they're coming over?
Give you these here.
We could, are you all set on your end?
Yeah,
You guys are all-
absolutely.
We're gonna, need to go into executive session, Charlie, so we'll need you to shut that off. Section 21A, number 6, to discuss strategy regarding purchase of property on Main Street and off Center Street, Main Street.
Both the Angelini.
Angelini Madden properties.
And then we're gonna come out of executive
We'll come
session.
out of that executive session, and then we have one other one that we need to go into,
Mhm.
and then we'll come back and we'll discuss
The warrants,
the warrant
okay.
items.
Did you make the motion, Don?
I did, I made the first
Okay,
motion.
and I'll second your motion
All
for
in
the
favor?
executive
Aye.
session.
Granny, yes?
Gorski,
Moore, yes?
Okay. All right, so if you,
About Bill died, huh? Bill Adams?
What?
You guys didn't know Bill Adams died?
I didn't know that.
Oh,
Didn't know that.
When did that
On
happen?
the weekend.
Oh.
Yeah. Finance, how many years has he been a member of the
50.
finance committee?
That's 53.
How many?
50 years.
Oh, my goodness.
I didn't know that.
Are we on the air, Charlie?
Yeah.
We are?
Oh, no.
I thought you guys.
No, I didn't know. Just like to send our condolences to the Adams family. Bill, we understand, passed away this weekend. He served the town for almost 50 years, I believe, in the capacity of finance, and we just appreciate his service. So sorry for your loss. Okay,
He was a good guy.
what do we have?
He was a great guy.
Yeah. he was
We
a
just
nice
had
guy.
a couple of questions for you. We had a couple of, every time we get into this time of year, sometimes we have somebody that seems to be going for a higher percentage on their raise than the rest of the group. And pretty much, the standard across the board seems to be 2%.
No, that was one of the questions we asked them.
Well, 2% is, I believe, what we were working at this year.
Right, that's the number that's been included in the budget. I was anticipating that, but it's not final until they tell you that's the number they want you to plug in.
I'm assuming that we're gonna go that road, and that some of the budgets we had come before us, I know, I'm sure you're aware of the fire department. There was some changes the fire chief wanted to make, and I wanted to see where the selectmen were with that. There was also, the assessor was asking for a large increase also on the Board of Assessors, so I was just trying to see where you were with both of them. I know, we have a new fire chief, and I don't know, I guess there was some new rules where the Board of Engineers are gone, that the selectmen have more control over that budget.
We've taken the place of the fire engineers, I believe, is that how it's interpreted?
I believe we have to say over the finance part of it. So,
Right,
now, I was away for the meeting 2 weeks ago, so, I mean, maybe you guys can,
sure,
Well, I wouldn't share anything about that meeting because it was executive session.
Oh, okay.
And we haven't
right.
approved any of those minutes. We
Right.
did have a conversation with the new fire chief.
I think what they'd be looking for before, it's fairly budget neutral to the budget, either way you look at it. I think they'd be looking more for your input on how it gets presented to town meeting.
Okay, well, I have an opinion on that. And you're right, we can't violate executive session. But we don't have an issue because you presented us with two scenarios here. Appropriated is the base. Now we're looking at a requested FY 2015 and Finance Board recommends.
Well, that was me building that, knowing
Yeah,
it's gonna be
that's
one
fine.
of the two scenarios, just so if I've gone on my merry way.
No, you're fine, you're fine. I mean, so I would say that, and I'd be prepared to make a motion, but let's have a discussion first. Let's take a look at that. I would agree that the chief's salary should be increased by 2%. I believe that'd be a 2% over what was appropriated in 2014.
Yes, that's.
I would agree also that we should appropriate an additional 2% for the clerk's salary. And I would agree that the inspector's wages also are appropriated, bumped up to 2%. We're gonna do the drill wages. What is that increase there? That's also 2%?
Both, yeah.
Basically 2% on that. We're gonna keep level funding, exactly the same funding for the Mass Fire Academy training. And I believe that would take care of it. That's what I would be in favor of.
What were you reading from, Joe, please?
Right here, second, third page.
Third page?
Line 20 then.
20, okay, I wasn't.
So if you look at the finance board, that's what we'll recommend, because we're having a discussion about the budget, not an executive session issue, then, certainly I would be in favor of that.
So basically, the expenses, the Mass Academy, those are level funded,
Level funding, and that's right, you're level funding the expenses.
Right,
and all wages a 2% increase
yes.
on that line.
Again, when I say finance committee board recommends, I was in here working on the weekend.
Sure, I
They're
understand.
just seeing it for the first time. Those are the two scenarios that we normally have. They're just looking for guidance on which column they want, you want to put under the finance board, because you control their budget.
Or was there a choice C?
There could be.
There could be, Bill, there could be some other
Could be.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But it's basically an idea that has to come to fruition before Nancy posts it.
And
Well,
when's
I-
the posting, Nancy?
I have to do it before April 11th.
April 11th, okay.
So basically, at this time, I mean, unless we have, the fire chief come in and discuss it with us line by line and, make any changes, I would have to imagine that we're going with the recommendations that you have in your line. I don't know how everyone else feels, but.
I totally agree, and I'd be willing to make a motion to ensure that.
Because I don't really know what went on at the other meetings, so I
Well,
mean,
that's kind of, you were away and now
Right.
you're back. We didn't make any decisions, we listened.
right.
People said how they felt. And,
The other part of it that goes forward is, the requested number was the number that was presented through the chief. Technically, the requested number would be coming from the board of selectmen.
Right.
So we would, we could make that mimic the finance board recommends column as well, because that'd be your request now, since you control the budget.
say that again, Greg, please.
Because the board of selectmen has control of the finances of the fire department,
Right.
technically the requested line item is yours. So we would change what you see there, the 239,830 column, into what the finance board recommends column is. They would mimic each other because you control that budget line item.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation, that's important.
I have been to town meeting where people have got up and put a hold on the recommendations by you and by us, and have done a presentation only to have the budget changed, which presents a problem for all of us at that time. Does anybody else recall those days
Absolutely.
when that has happened?
Mhm.
So, I think we sat and talked, we didn't make a decision.
That's right.
I would like to go back to a meeting with that individual and listen. Do you,
Yeah,
do
no,
you
I
have
agree,
any-
because I don't know what took place.
So this doesn't have to be done tonight.
Okay.
They just
Right,
need it
but I
before
mean,
it's
based
posted.
on what we have now, it would have to be the way it is on, the recommendations that are on the far right side.
We just wanted to know where the selectmen, how you felt
Well, you,
about, both categories and.
right,
Well, we could make a decision tonight, and we could also change it if we had to, but,
because your role actually is advisory, correct?
Yes.
right.
Right.
So
I
those
just
are, so what you're saying is these are two recommended scenarios, we just need to pick one unless we did a C or something.
Right, basically, the fire department budget's yours now.
Right, exactly, so.
They're looking for the guidance on what numbers you would like them to plug into those holes.
Right. I would tell you that, well, I'll make the motion. I mean, it's subject to discussion. I'd like to make a motion that we accept the far right-hand column scenario, the funding of the fire department based on specifically what is listed in the third column. And again, I'll just repeat that, is the chief's salary, clerk's salary, inspector's wages up 2%. We're going to, firefighter wages will be up 2%, drill wages up 2%, Mass Fire Academy training and expenses will be level funded. That's my motion, if I have a second.
I guess we're gonna have a meeting. We'll have to schedule a meeting.
I feel like, that's how we left the table, that we would meet again.
Right.
And I appreciate the work that you all do.
Yeah, if that meeting doesn't take place, it'll be the items in the right-hand side though. I would say that we're gonna be going with until, we have it.
I just don't wanna see the budget,
May I say something to
go ahead,
that?
yeah.
I spoke to town council about, the strong chief law,
Yes,
because I was asked you a while ago, and what his opinion was, is the selectmen are in charge of all financial aspects of the fire department under this new strong chief law. Town meeting, if they voted $1 million for that budget, the selectmen
make the ultimate
make the
decision.
decision on what the salaries and
Right.
so forth will be.
Because
Town meeting can't control that, no matter what
Only
they
the
vote,
voters.
only you can
Okay,
under that
right.
law.
Right, because we have had people go to the microphone and,
This is specific to this law
this
for
law,
a
for
strong
the
chief.
strong chief law,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I'd still like to honor
Yeah,
the,
no, let's have, because I don't know what took place, so.
the conversation.
Okay.
And we still have time, because, as Nancy said, she has to post it by April 11th, so that gives us.
Either column is fairly close budgetarily, so it's not an issue money-wise.
Yeah.
It's just a presentation issue basically at this point.
Well, even if we put in the numbers that are on the right-hand side, in a town meeting floor, we chose to speak up and change the numbers on the line. That could take place as well,
Yeah.
correct?
That's right.
Well, a lot of people have problems when you start raising, because your town warrant's supposed to advise the public as to what is actually being
Okay, so
discussed,
let's
and
have
when
the
you
meeting
surprise them,
beforehand,
yeah, you
so.
need to have a meeting beforehand.
All right,
definitely.
what else?
So, from what I'm gathering, we wanna stick along the 2% line all across the board.
Yes.
We had one other salary, the assessors manager's salary, she wanted to raise that. We put in a recommendation that and we were in agreement on it for a 2%.
Okay, no one's come to us for any reason to increase it, so I would imagine we'd be sticking to 2%. We've had no meeting with them.
I think the reason what we usually, if we get to this point here, the reason they're looking for the guidance right now is because once they decide what they wanna do, any department who doesn't get what their budget requested is, usually they give them the next Monday night to come in and once again plead their case or something like that. But where it's a salary issue, it really is the Board of Selectmen's call. So I think at this point, we'd probably just inform her that the selectmen decided to go with 2% across the board, and if you wanna schedule a meeting with them, you can, but again, salaries are yours.
I would say that would be important, if they came to us to talk to us, then at least we'd know what the reason is.
There's a
Otherwise, we
second
don't know.
one too that's not on this warrant, which involves the water and sewer department, which was part of the request too, because they were looking for 3%, and they also had a salary adjustment for their clerk to roll overtime into her base salary and become a salaried individual. Again, that's another call that becomes yours.
So if we roll the base salary, the overtime at the base salary, then it's in a salary position, not an hourly.
Correct.
Is that where we're going?
That's what they're
That's what
requesting.
the plan is.
So I would say they need to schedule a meeting with us to tell us what's going on with that.
To
too.
justify the change,
Right.
and the manager of the assessors office, I think that was a substantial bump up, wasn't it?
16%.
16?
Yeah. So I think they would have to come speak to us to let
And
us
she
know what
also
the.
has commissioners, right?
Yes.
I don't know if, has that person been in to see you?
The assessors?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Did she come with her commissioners? Did she come?
I thought it was just her
Just her.
that evening,
Just
just
her,
her.
but she did.
I would say we probably need the
She did
commissioners.
ask for both.
Yeah, it would be Bill and Dana. right, is it Dana? And who
Jerry.
else?
Jerry.
And Jerry,
Dana,
yeah,
Bill, Dana, and Jerry.
Yeah, I'd like to know what's going on. It makes
Okay,
sense.
so if I'm hearing everything correctly, it's a 2%
2%.
raise. You would like to see the water department and the assessor and clerk, and we're waiting for your guidance on the fire department budget,
that sounds
which,
like,
which Nancy can update. It's already been emailed to her. She can just change it in her computer before it gets printed out, whatever you come up
What's
with.
your time frame, what's your,
Whatever your posting date is.
11th, Nancy just said.
Getting back to, quickly for the water and sewer clerk, is that what you're talking about?
That's one of the questions.
Now, how does the new law affect her salary where if she's a clerk, she's obviously not management, she can't be exempt from
She's
overtime?
office manager, she's not a clerk.
I misspoke.
She's the office manager.
Is her title.
But I think there's new guidelines on that, right? There's-
They're
there's very
coming through, you mean the feds?
Right, as
Yeah.
far as who you can exempt and who you cannot exempt, regardless of what you call them.
Right.
You know, based on salary and job responsibility and things like that. So if we lock in with a base salary and it turns out that she's still not exempt from overtime, we've just cut our throats, right?
Yeah, has that actually passed? I just saw something quickly on the internet yesterday, I think it was. I don't know if it's actually law yet.
I believe it was an executive order,
Okay.
so
Well,
it
we'll have to get them. I haven't seen the full.
was similar to what President Bush did in, I wanna say 2006. Signed an executive order, basically rearranging how the definition between exempt and non-exempt employees should be defined according to the Department of Labor. And now I understand Obama's just reclarified those laws.
Well, my understanding of that law, she should have been exempt. She should have been a salaried employee right along. But boards make their own decisions and I don't control that, so.
Something
That's
to
something
consider.
that needs some clarity, right?
Yep. She's going back and forth from hourly to salary to hourly at different times throughout her time here. I don't know what their reasoning is, they don't discuss it with me, you know, so.
so if we're gonna use this method of hearing folks that are requesting an increase above the customary level, that's gonna be done in open session, I would think, unless they choose to go into executive session.
For what? I'm sorry.
To discuss the salaries.
It would have to be an
Open.
open session,
Open session.
yeah.
However, with the fire chief, we're gonna continue in executive
You're,
session, because we've started that.
well, you were negotiating a contract with them. If you're just talking about the budget and you're
Okay.
no longer
That has
going
to
to
be an open
negotiate a
session.
contract, then it would be an open
Okay,
session.
so okay, that's a good plan, and I support you on that. If Bob would like to come in and speak at open session with his proposal, as he presented it to the finance committee, that would be fine with me.
Yeah,
Any other ones?
yeah, he came in and talked to us about
No, I think that was it.
plan.
Before, he was asking if that was all the concerns you had with the budget.
That was it,
That was it.
that was it.
How's everything else look?
Good. Good.
Thank you for all your hard work.
Just 7 overrides, no big deal.
That's it?
Right,
Oh, what about the underwrite?
I was just going to say, what about the underwrite? We leave that money sitting there, what do we do?
We wanna,
can't-
No, I have an article for the warrant.
You do?
If I haven't already put it on your draft, I have
Okay,
it in my
all right,
computer.
because we have to
So we
address
have
that.
we can just explain for the public what that, what is an underwrite? What are
Well,
we
it's not
underwriting?
it's not really an underride.
Yeah,
What it is revoking basically the vote last year for the, Center Street property,
right.
because, they haven't been able to provide, clear title.
And so if the town agreed to pay for that project, I'll make it real simple, and now the project is off, then we need to take back that money, otherwise someone can come and ask to use that money for something else.
Right,
Okay, thank you.
Which would be very
And it would
dangerous.
increase your tax base.
Right,
right.
we have such a huge audience watching these tapes, I wanna make sure everybody understands. You guys did great work, thank you for.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
covered number 1, number 2, number 3. We're gonna review the special events guidelines
Yeah.
and discuss it in our meeting.
Those are going home with me tonight.
Now, ballot questions. We need to go through those as well, correct?
Yeah, I gave you the draft of a,
Do we have something to do with that van for council on aging?
yeah, you do, there's a letter to just declare it surplus property
Okay.
for them.
We make a motion that we declare the 2001 Dodge Ram van as surplus property
For sale,
for sale.
as
Yep,
is.
I'll second
As
that.
is. Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Wow, 2001, huh? 13 years out of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
You'll see the town meeting warrant the town election warrant. The front page shows the different positions that are available for on the ballot.
yep,
And then the second page is the act for changing the Board of Selectmen, the question.
We're 3 to 5.
Yep,
I'm sorry, where is it?
the second,
This-
no,
this
you're,
one here.
you're, Joe, the election.
Oh.
You have 3,
Yeah.
looks like this. Did you find it?
No. I'm still looking.
Joe,
It's 2 pages.
Ah. You got through that.
told you there's too many papers tonight.
Okay. All right, I get it. I'll read it.
all right, so then we have the annual town meeting.
Well, wait, we need to vote
Oh,
Recommendation?
for this to go on the ballot.
can we not put that ballot question on there?
Yeah,
It's
you
up
can
to the
just,
Board of Selectmen.
Just skip it, I'd be all for not doing it.
so, I don't know the process. We vote for all of this tonight?
No, but
Just make a
what I need from you tonight is
Yeah.
to vote on whether you wanna put that question on the ballot. Because I have to give 35 days
Sure, I
notice
understand.
before election to the town clerk to do so.
Or I think we should. I mean, we have a law that says we could.
Article 1, Nancy, is fun, right?
Yeah, it's your normal,
Normal
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
And
you don't need to vote that, just number 2,
Yeah.
the
Right.
question.
Yeah, the question, I think it's worded fine. I would be in favor of it, of course.
It's worded the
Well-
way the town meeting voted it last year,
Right.
the actual question.
Mhm.
The summary was written by town council in accordance with the legislation.
The legislation that passed.
Well, I'll support allowing the people to make a decision on this
Well, thank you. I
question,
figured.
question mark. The
All in-
people speak on it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So are you voting this year?
Well,
When
probably.
would they start? Is it
The following year.
2015?
Yeah.
There'd be, how many people on the ballot at that time?
Why don't we
If
just
you're
go to
normal-
100? Can
you're
we just go to
normal-
100?
If you,
Your normal person, whoever was up from the current board,
Okay.
minus
And-
Dawn.
so Betty, if it were to get voted, obviously, I would think the best thing to do is you wait a year to bring in those other 2.
That's what this says right here, you
Yeah,
have
Mhm.
to.
and so that's what that's the way it has to be, my view.
And so then, Betty, there would be one for 3 years and one for 2 years, also on the
So-
ballot
Oh,
on
okay.
2015.
So it would all be synchronized, and each
Okay.
year, one person would
Right.
have been in
But
the
see,
third.
I don't agree, how is that synchronizing it when that year there's gonna be somebody
You
up
have
that's
3 new
currently
ones.
on the board?
You'll have 3 new people,
Do you know what I'm saying?
One's gonna be.
whatever. It'll
That
just
would be
be,
me.
it's not gonna be that good anyway.
Right.
so.
That would be me, 2015.
Right,
Yeah.
so Betty's up and she runs again,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
As crazy as she might
Once-
be.
When she checks off the box.
So she chooses
Too
to
late
run
talk about
again.
term limits?
She chooses to run again in 2015, so
Yes.
there's one.
Yeah.
Then there'll be one running for 3 years
Yeah,
and one running for 2.
the first time out, you're gonna have 3
So, yeah,
to get it.
but then you have 2 others already sitting there
Yeah,
that have 3 years. You understand, one will have,
Yeah.
I didn't make.
I don't think it works as far as having one a year.
Yeah,
It's all right, 5 people aren't gonna be very good together.
Maybe it will, maybe I just don't get it, maybe it's not.
I think it'll start it off.
Although
how
we
Georgetown
did
does
see
it.
a nice,
It'll be synchronized after that, or no?
Never.
After we have the fun.
I don't think so,
It'll always
I
be
don't know,
the
I keep
same.
looking at it and I don't see how it's going to, I really don't.
You're gonna have 2 people running for a 3-year one.
Well, did we have council look at it?
Yeah,
I think Georgetown does 2, 2 and 1.
maybe there's no way you can do it with 5, with a 3-year term, there probably isn't, how can you, if you think about it?
Make them have to stay 5 years.
I'd be in favor of two.
I think you do a 6-month term.
I'd be in
Yeah.
favor of a 2-year term.
just try it out,
If
think
you
you
don't know
like
by
it,
6 months if you like it or not.
see how you feel.
Yeah.
All right.
So what I'd like you to do is your other warrants, your special,
Yeah.
I'd like you to look at those, so at our next meeting, if you have any concerns with any of your articles, you can let me know.
Because we have to vote them.
Well, you don't have to vote them, I need to send this stuff to town
Council.
council for him
Right.
to start looking at it.
But I don't know the
The,
process.
the
'cause
night of town meeting, we'll meet prior to the meeting.
Yes.
We'll go through and decide what our recommendations
Oh, I
are.
get it.
But what I want from you next Monday is, after you've read them over the next 2 weeks, you have the right to take anything off you want,
Right,
that's your job. If
So,
you-
Can we take the omnibus off?
Go right ahead.
oh, we've got medical marijuana on here,
Yeah, provided the planning board holds their hearing.
well, they've gotta hold a hearing, right?
Yeah, I wrote a letter and asked
Yeah.
them to,
Okay.
They have a meeting tomorrow night, right?
yeah.
Then they can handle it,
All right, so for the next meeting, you want us to educate ourselves on what we have here.
Just in
If we
case
see
there's something
anything prior,
there.
should we shoot you an email?
Yeah, please
you know.
do.
We don't care, for
Okay, that makes it easy.
okay,
All right, so now we have covered
everything then?
everything.
So you're gonna study the
We're gonna
guidelines,
study the guidelines.
review the warrant articles
Yeah.
for the
No.
special and annual.
Can we reconsider at the next meeting to take that ballot question off?
Sure, you can go home and have
Okay,
change of
all right,
heart.
all right. And then,
Just have to do it within a certain time frame.
I need 35 days before
all right.
election.
It's the people's choice.
That sounds like the People's Choice Award.
Yeah.
All right, so those 3 items we need to respond back to on. Very good. So we need to schedule another meeting to discuss those other, will we just do it at our next normal Monday night meeting?
To do what, Don? Discuss what?
Those 4 items that the finance committee asked us to,
If those folks wanna come in and talk to us,
We've got
Yeah, plus all 3 people you're talking about.
if they come in, is that enough time?
yeah, we just don't wanna cut you.
Now, Doc,
Well,
let
we
me
can
ask
do
you,
it
should-
sooner.
when they come in,
Yeah,
do we try to
we
make a
could.
decision right there in front of them, or how do you normally do it? What would you
Well, I mean,
normally
we'll
do?
discuss it, and if there's a valid reason to make an adjustment,
Yeah,
I mean, I would imagine we could figure that out while we're talking.
right there, okay.
Yeah.
I do think you should just tell them right away, because we have
Yeah,
to,
time is of the
Yeah.
essence,
they're
right?
gonna read it when I post it.
Exactly. Yeah,
It'd be
so I
better
mean,
if
I'm
they
not
come-
trying to do it behind their back, I wanted
Right.
to do it with them.
Yeah, I'm
But
not
they
used
should
to
have
this
come to
process.
us.
Right.
I'm not used to this process, it's almost like an open negotiation, almost. Okay, that's fine, that's the way you do it, that's good.
All right, so we're all set, we'll close the meeting? Everyone good? Any other questions, concerns, discussions?
I'm sorry, I thought they probably knew about Bill. I don't know why,
No,
when I came in, I didn't mention that.
I
How did
didn't
you
know.
know, Betty? Did someone call? I didn't hear about it
Let's
either.
see.
Hope the guy's still not alive.
Who told me? Somebody told me that Bill had passed. Then somebody said they were in his neighborhood and they saw the car come to pick him up.
Mm,
And that his
Sad.
wife's in a nursing home, I
mm.
believe. But I'm trying to think, who the heck, where was I?
Well, it doesn't matter, somebody told you though.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's reliable.
You know, I just assumed,
I feel really bad, he was a nice man.
I
He
love
was.
Bill. He never met a town meeting article, financial article that he liked. Bill said no to everything.
He was a real strong Republican.
He was a strong, very conservative. God bless him.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you, Charlie, we'll close our meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. sorry, your equipment